For most of us watching this, you've probably got uni or school starting up soon. And most of you will tell yourself that you're going to lock in once the term begins. But the reality is that most people are already behind 2 weeks in. Now, is that a motivation issue or is that a laziness issue? The answer is no. The answer is that habits and systems aren't built overnight and it takes time to build them. And the worst thing is, as the term progresses, you just become more and more behind. This is all built on 3 main pillars: sleep, focus, and training. And I'm also going to chalk in an extra habit that makes all of these so much easier. Now, important thing to note, what I'm giving you here is not a theory. I've tested this myself and also taught and seen many students who have also been able to use this to accomplish better grades, better sleep, better health overall. For context, I'm going into my 3rd year of electrical engineering and computer science, and I've tutored for the past 4 years, both high school students and also uni students. I've seen what actually separates the people who stay consistent and the people who start strong but give up early. The important thing is that I was not always like this. 5 years ago, I had no structure. I'd just get some motivation and lose it overnight. So what I'm giving you here is what I wish I had back then. The first thing to establish is that motivation is one of the biggest traps. We feel like it's a solution, but all it leads back to is inconsistency. You've probably had that time where you've watched a really interesting video or something that's gotten you excited and you've been motivated. Wake up the next day and all of that's gone. And the reality is, most of us are not lazy. It's just we didn't have the systems in place to keep us consistent. For me, I remember going to one of my high achievers assembly, seeing people getting good grades and thinking that's gonna be me. So I went home, motivated, studied a lot that night, wake up the next day, I wasn't even bothered again. And here's the part that most people miss. These pillars I'm gonna give you aren't separate. Once one breaks down, they all affect each other. We're gonna go more into each of those 3 separate pillars on their own in a second, but first I wanna give you this one habit that really changed my life. If you haven't already guessed it, it's getting us away from waking up and scrolling on our phones. This is probably the worst way to start our day. You think it's for 5 minutes, it ends up being 30 minutes. Most of us just want to check our phones when we wake up, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what ends up happening is most of us end up scrolling and reading a bunch of messages, and then once we get out of bed, we're already too tired and feel like we're not focused, ready to start the day on a good foot. So the one habit that will give the biggest ROI and help all 3 of these pillars is just going for a morning walk. I know it sounds simple, but trust me when I say this. Now here's the good part. I'm not saying get out of bed and walk, in the rain without your phone. I'm saying get out of bed, bring your phone with you, and if you need to walk around and scroll, that's fine. That's moving up. The next thing is we want to climb a ladder. We can move from scrolling and checking our phone to listening to music. Then from there, it could be a podcast, something actually learning. And the final stage would just be not bringing your phone if you can, and just walking with nature. Now, it's kind of the same idea as progressive overload in the gym. You don't just go walk out one day and go for your max. You start light and you keep progressing up until that max. Now, the reason why this is such a high ROI habit is that forming a new habit, you want something to stick. And in order to stick, you need to actually see a benefit from it. Most habits, if you try starting, you're not going to see an immediate change or upgrade in your life. Not only do you get a morning walk with cardio, but it also gets the sun in your eyes, which helps wake you up, leading to better focus and also helping you sleep better at night, which creates a nice feedback loop starting on the right foot the next day. Okay, now that the day actually starts properly, let's go into the 3 different pillars and their defaults that are on. So the first pillar is sleep. And for most people, sleep is quite overlooked. The reality is that when life gets quite busy, most people start to skip a bit of sleep. I know for myself, I've done this quite a lot before, and it's made other areas of my life quite negatively impacted. When you wake up tired, your body has less energy. So it's not going to be bothered to do some of the harder tasks of the day, which means that you might go back to going on your phone, scrolling in the mornings. Now what that means is that when you go down to do your work, you have less focus. So you get less done, and then you might skip your workout or training, which you end up getting bad sleep, and it becomes an endless cycle of going down a bad spiral. Now, I'm not sitting here thinking we live in an ideal world. Most people can't get good sleeps every night. The default is not perfect sleep, it's just to be consistent. A few months back, I tried waking up at 5 a.m. every day, but what do you think happened? After a few days, I went to bed late and then would get bad sleep, and it just became a bad cycle. Essentially, you want to signal to your body that it knows when sleep time is. If your sleep time's changing each night, it's going to affect the quality of sleep you're getting, which is going to affect your mood and your health overall. So instead, I just run a schedule that I can maintain even when my week isn't good. So I try to stick to a +-1 rule around my bedtime and my waking up time.
Let me explain what this means. If my ideal bedtime is 10 p.m, my window to fall asleep would be between 9 and 11 p.m. Same idea for wake up, because once your sleep time shifts by 2 to 3 hours, you'll get a mini jet lag. You feel tired, your focus drops, and your training feels harder. The more consistent you stay in that window, the more your brain will lock on to that rhythm. I can guarantee you that it'll be a night and day difference just after 30 days. And I'll be making a video going more deeper into how to optimize your sleep for better energy, focus, and productivity.
So the way we can go about setting this up, we can use 3 steps. First, don't look at the time you want to go to bed, look at the time you need to wake up. Then from there, you want to look, okay, 9 hours from there, what time would that be we have to get into bed? If we want to be falling asleep for 8 hours, we're not going to get into bed with 8 hours till we got to wake up. Because ideally we do not want to wake up to an alarm, because that also disrupts our sleep and affects our energy levels. Then from there, we just need a wind down cue. Now for me, I've implemented reading, but that could be watching Netflix, that could be watching YouTube, something, it doesn't have to be, but over time you can progress. Okay, now we're moving on to pillar number 2, which is focus. Now the reality is that most people do wake up, scroll on their phones on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and what you probably feel is that everything feels harder after. It fries your attention and makes doing any task seem impossible. So the main thing behind the second pillar is productivity first and dopamine later. So while we're on our breaks, I'm not asking you guys to do 6 hours of work a day, but I'm saying do one meaningful, productive thing in the morning. It could be reading, it could be meal prepping, it could be making a video, it could be learning a new skill. Just one thing that you can do with all your focus, essentially anything that just moves your life forward in some degree. Then what you want to do is keep that high dopamine stuff for later. Because then once you've actually done something in the day, you can do something like watching YouTube or Reels without feeling the guilt. This works so effectively compared to starting the day with a high dopamine activity like YouTube or Reels and trying to do your work later. The reason behind this is how the brain's reward system works. Next video, I'll actually break down how dopamine and attention span works and how we can hack this so it becomes a cheat code for productivity. Finally, our third pillar is training. Now, what you don't want to do here is set an intense plan that you're not going to be able to stick to. Similar to what we've talked about in the other topics, we don't want to set something intense that we know we can't stick to. So instead of saying, I'm going to work out twice a day for every day, that's not something that most people can stick to. So what I set for myself is work out 3 days in a row and then a break off. Now, the thing is, sometimes I do miss a day as well. You know, life gets busy and you don't want to beat yourself up about it. So just try be consistent as you can, but having a rest day is never an issue. And again, for this pillar, I'm happy to go further in depth in another video on how to dial in your training and eating in order to help improve your sleep, productivity, and just quality of life overall. Ultimately, if you just wait for the semester or school to start back to lock in, you're gonna be trying to implement all these new habits and things that's just gonna make your life chaotic and fall behind. Okay, so here's the 30-day reset summed up. Firstly, try a morning walk. Try go for 10 minutes and progress over time. Bring your phone if you want. The second thing is our sleep. We want to try get a consistent sleep each night. The third thing is focus. We want to try get a meaningful and productive block of learning something that's going to benefit you before we do anything else in the day. And the final thing is training. We want to try get a consistent training schedule that is going to work for you. Now I urge you to just try it for 30 days. Not perfectly, but just try be consistent. And I guarantee you're going to notice quite a big change in your life. This is going to allow that when the semester or school starts back, you're already going to be in motion and you're not going to have to start from zero. If you want systems that actually work when life gets busy, make sure to subscribe. I've went quite surface level in a lot of these things here, but I'm going to be making a lot more in-depth videos in all of these areas in order to help improve your sleep, health, grades, and just life overall. For my next video, it's going to be the productive first rule. We're going to be going more in depth in how to not fry our focus within the first hour of the day.